Hello there and welcome to Discuss on Global Television. I'm your host Priscilla Obasi, and today we are turning our conversation to the most trending issue, the most reoccurring, emotionally charged issues in the Nigeria's education system, and it is the issue of the Asuu strike. The Association of Universities has embarked on industrial action yesterday. Today makes it the day 2 of the industrial action, and the classrooms, of course, has gone silent. Lecturers are at home, students are idle, and parents, I am very certain that the frustration is already building up. It is a familiar story that is raising an uncomfortable question. Why does this keep happening? We ask over and over again. Is it just about unpaid salaries, or is it about the funding gaps? Is there a deeper issue that we need to reflect on in the educational system? What's going on with the dialogue, and what is our national priority like? And to help us, answer all of those questions, I am joined today with Asuu Chairman, University of Abuja chapter. You get to meet him just after this break. Please stay with us. Right, welcome back. I'm joined with me in the studio, the Asuu Chairman, University of Abuja chapter. He is Silvanus Ogoye. Welcome to Midday Discourse. Welcome to the conversation.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Okay, so we're discussing about the industrial action, that has that the Asuu has just embarked on, and we're talking about the dialogue. We're talking about the deadlock and what is actually the way forward. I'll be asking a series of questions, of course, for you to help us understand, because a lot of parents are worried. A lot of students have a lot going on in their mind at this point. What is actually the balance? What they say, when two elephants fight, right? The grass suffers. So at the end of the day, students are at the receiving end of all of this. I really want to know why. So let me start with this very question, sir. For those who may not fully understand what actually led to the latest strike, can you walk us through the key issues? What exactly is Asuu demanding this time around?
Thank you very much once more. Let me start with your comment on the issue of where two elephants fight, the grass suffers. Honestly, in this case, we have only one elephant. Both the students and the lecturers are the grasses, and the federal government is the elephant in this matter. Now, the issue of Asuu struggle, especially on the current issue, you bear with me that in the last 2 years, there have never been any industrial action embarked upon by the union.
Yeah, that's
that really didn't mean that the issues at stake have been addressed. You will recall that in 2017, the renegotiation of the 2009 agreement started with the federal government. By that time, it was led by Barrister Babalakin SAN, that was the chairman of the government team and chaired the negotiation. From him to Professor Rosali Jubre. From that, we'll get to Emeritus Professor Mimi Briggs of blessed memory. And now we are with Alhaji Ayale Ahmed. All these four people the aim was to renegotiate the 2009 agreement. Now, as at February this year, the Honorable Minister of Education acknowledged the receipt of a draft report of this committee. And this committee was not just made up of Asuu alone. It was made up of all the relevant stakeholders. The Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Finance, the Accountant General Office, the Salaries and Wages Commission, the NUC, all the relevant stakeholders were involved in this discussion. Last engagement was last Friday when the union was invited for a discussion. Unfortunately, what was presented was contrary to the understanding, the report they have earlier reached in the collective bargain of the team. It was a different thing altogether, and the union actually was taken aback and surprised. You know, we thought that by this time, after giving the 14-day ultimatum, the federal government would have addressed all these issues. Now we talk about what are the issues in contention. Just like I said, the renegotiation of that 2009 agreement, that is where you have the component of the salaries of the Asuu members. The salaries the Asuu members are on now as a result of the 2009 agreement. From 2009 till now, it's about 16 years. With all the inflections, with all the changes in the economic realities, it is still the salary that was negotiated 16 years ago that they are in. With the devaluation and everything that is taking place, now you begin to imagine the level of suffering the average lecturer is going through in this country. Now, other issues include promotion arrears. You know that when it comes to promotion, especially to the professorial cadre in the university, it's not often automatic. For some, it will take a year for the assessment to be back, some 6 months, some 3 months, some more than a year, 2 years, 3 years plus. And it's expected that at this time, these promotion arrears will be paid because every year, promotion is taken into consideration in the budget of both the universities and the federal government. But you realize that since 2009, some universities have not received any of the promotion arrears.
Wow.
Now we are talking about, again, we are talking about the 25%, 35% 1 year arrears of the wage award by the federal government. It is still there unpaid. We are talking about the third-party deductions made from salaries of Asuu members, and they are not remitted. These are not, it's not government money, these are taken from salaries of people, either through their cooperative or through one union or the other. They are not being remitted.
On what grounds are they taken?
Sorry?
On what grounds are they taken?
No, they usually under the IPPIS. These are deductions are meant to go to the cooperative from which they were, deducted from. It's actually supposed to be deducted and transmitted to those cooperatives or those unions that have requested for those deductions. But in this case, the deductions were made from people's salaries and they are kept back. Up to today, people cannot see. Some of this money are meant to serve as their personal savings. It is not remitted.
Interesting. The federal government has come out to say that dialogue has been made, yet the union insists on strike. What do you say about that?
It's very obvious. From what I explained, it's very obvious. We expected the Honorable Minister to tell Nigerians the outcome of the collective bargaining, the committee he set up, led by Alhaji Yahya Ahmed. He should tell Nigerians what is the outcome, what is the draft report of that committee. Has it been signed? Has it been implemented? What has happened to it? So the idea of saying that they are calling for dialogue, I think that committee is a very strong one set up by himself. So I think that he should go back to the report of that committee, look at it, sign it, implement it. Since it may not be best deep again, rather than giving figures or giving something his ministry feel like giving to the academic staff. And these issues are not issues of today. They are issues that have been there over time. We thought that by now we would have, pushed it behind us and move forward. I want to say here, it is good we know. It is not about the Asuu as one isolated group. Asuu members are both parents and they are students. Anytime the university is shut down, it affects the Asuu members in many dimensions. Apart from being parents, apart from being students, that work that is not done, they will still do under serious pressure. Asuu, by the nature the way university is wired, does not leave any work undone. So it's not about a group of people suffering only. All of us, that's why I said at the beginning that in this case, both the students, the parents, and the lecturers were the grasses. It's only the government that is the elephant in this case. And the rest of us are suffering.
So in that regard now, saying that this industrial action has a ripple effect on every individual, including Asuu members, is there no other measure to, address the situation of the unpaid salaries rather than embarking on strike? Because we see, students suffer from this academic time. Students lose valuable academic time, and the public often blames Asuu for disrupting. But here you are saying that it also affects Asuu members, and you also made mention of the fact that Asuu covers his academic calendar. Well, I don't know how absolute that is, but then I am asking, is there no other measure rather than embark on an industrial action?
We have tried every other measure, and we still challenge any other person that will have an alternative approach that will work. Because Asuu have tried all. Anytime Asuu embarks on a strike, usually as a last resort. It is when every other means has failed. So this one, because every other effort made, meeting individual, meeting traditional ruler, meeting religious, meeting all the critical stakeholders at different time, is because they have failed. The federal government does seem to be sincere in dealing with these issues and our educational system. And I think anytime there is a sincerity of purpose, it's not that these issues are beyond what could be solved. We believe they can be solved even within 24 hours. So it is good for the Nigerian public to know that, look, Asuu has been on it for over 10 months. Even when the ultimatum of 2 weeks was given, we thought that within that 2 weeks there would have been resolved. But we never knew that the 2 weeks will end. Still, the issue is not resolved. Even now, this strike is 2 weeks warning strike. That means there is still room for these things to be addressed. And that's why I've tried every other means. And if anybody knows any means that will work, we are open to it.
Okay, I don't know how true this is, but then I think I stumbled on the internet seeing that there's a particular chapter with the federal government, a particular chapter of, I don't know if it's Asuu or just a group of individuals that work with universities. Can you clarify that? That a particular group of people, I don't know if they're a chapter with Asuu or just random individuals working with the government. I think a particular body has come out to say they are with the federal government on this.
Well, in this case, Asuu will not answer for what is not Asuu.
Okay.
We will answer for what is Asuu. What I have told you are the issues Asuu have been on, and it's Asuu that is on strike.
Okay, so
So I
talking
wouldn't
about
have really
Nigerians, you Asuu having to come out and thinking that Nigerians are, or having the notion that Nigerians have been seeing all that has been happening. Do you truly think Nigeria understands that Nigerians understand Asuu position, or do you think the message has been lost over the years because of the frequent? Before now, you said ASU has not gone on strike for the last 2 years, but before then, the academic calendars of most universities, federal, state universities, you can be sure that before you go through university, your academic calendar will be disrupted. If you're meant to spend 3 years, you spend 4. You're meant to spend 4, you spend 5. And don't you think this has become tiring to Nigerians that at this point they do not even understand the message, the clear message again, and redirecting or re-strategizing aside going on strike would actually pass the message to even Nigerians?
Well, we believe some Nigerians have really understood. Recently, there was this lady from the Lagos houses that really declared that she's coming to know this for the first time, that the situation is this bad in the Nigerian universities. We know that some have actually come to know that really the situation is bad, and the message has been the same message. And the issue of the academic calendar being lengthened or that, I can tell you that our students, who are also our children, and also part of the Asuu, most often are beneficiaries of these struggles. Let me give you some instances. Now, go to all the public universities. Take a head count of all the physical structures. Check for yourself how many that were not constructed by Deadluck. Deadluck came out as a result of Asuu struggle. Who are the beneficiaries of those structures? Our students. Go through the universities, check for the classrooms, the laboratories, hostels built by the needs assessment during the Deadluck government. It was as a result of Asuu struggle. Who are the beneficiaries? Our students. When we talk of funding, the few times the government has released funding for universities, who are the major beneficiaries? Funding money does not go to us. Funding money goes to the university administration, and they are used to put their facilities in place. If these facilities are not there, or these facilities, who are the major beneficiaries? It's our students. I can tell you that the bulk of the benefits of these struggles are actually the students are the beneficiaries. If Asuu lie low, like so many other people, our public universities will decay. And the call we are making is that we don't want the public universities to die. Many of us are beneficiaries of the public universities. It's unfortunate, honestly speaking, that many of the people who are killing the university system are people that benefited so much from the university system. In the days that they were giving food, they were giving chicken, going to university was a great pleasure. Many of them are beneficiaries of this system. Unfortunately, they are the one now destroying the system. I think it's hard time we tell ourselves the truth. It is the people that have benefited most from this Nigerian educational system are the one killing the system. And as we said, no, there are still the public out there who, if the public universities die, their children will not be able to go to school. What's the percentage of Nigerians that can afford the private universities? Many of us don't have gone to the university if it's for the private universities. Even now, with the salary you are paying the lecturers, professors, how many of the professors can train their children in the private universities? Not to talk of as you go down the ladder. So you discover that it's like the political class trying to enslave the rest of the people. Because when you cannot send your children to school, they are the ones that have the means to send their own children to the best universities in the world or send them to private universities. It means that the children of the masses will actually be enslaved for life. So I think the whole of this struggle is a struggle for survival of Nigeria. And I want to make Nigerian public realize this. This struggle is not just for Asuu people. If Asuu succumbs to this pressure of crush them, the Nigerian public will understand, because it will be difficult for the ordinary person out there to send a child to any of the private universities. Somebody will begin to think, is it that what happened in the primary and secondary? Many of them, the private this thing are taken over. So I think that it is not just a struggle for Asuu, it's a struggle for the soul of Nigeria.
Okay, you say Asuu is responsible for most of the infrastructure in university. I want to ask, what is the duty or the work of TED Fund in universities?
No, TED Fund, let me call your mind back. TED Fund came out of one of those struggles. Then it was Education Task Force. When the federal government challenged us to see, if you are looking for this, go and find means of solving it. Asuu brought the proposal of Education Task Force that now snowballed into TED Fund, that have become a major savior for the university system. It was out of such struggles. And Asuu, they are still ready to provide solutions if called upon at any time.
The federal government has come out to say that it is implementing a policy of no work, no pay. What do you have to say about this?
I think that's most unfortunate for the Honorable Minister of Education to think that that's the way he will solve the ongoing problem. I think it is like somebody will look at it as a man whose house is burning and is busy pursuing rats. Where we are now is not the issue of no work, no pay. It should be the issue of how do we solve the problem confronting the educational system. Slamming no work, no pay cannot solve the problem. Even if you do it for 1 year, stop paying the lecturers' salaries. Have you solved the problem with the education system? You have not. So I think it is leaving the substance and pursuing shadows.
And then how does Asuu want to respond with this? Because, the industrial action, embarking on industrial action and then having no salaries while, striking. Do you think this strike will actually work? Don't you see lecturers getting frustrated in the long run?
Priscilla, you know that the man that is on the ground doesn't need a phone. Somebody that's on the ground doesn't need a phone, actually. But now, come to think about it, the highest paid professor in public universities earn about $366 in 30 days. Is it the $366 I was telling somebody yesterday that you beat your chest and say really you are paying the person? And the person will be, and what we are doing is a struggle for the survival of the soul of the education in Nigeria, which is actually more than the salary issue. It is better we have the real, functional university system. Because even if you staff the lecturers for the next 1 year and you don't have a functional university system, you're not done anything. Those ones, they will come and go. The lecturers will come and go, generation will come and pass. But we are talking of having an enduring university system that the upcoming generation will be proud of.
So is it possible to highlight again, in summary, clearly the demands of Asuu so that it will be known to the public?
It's okay. Let me go through it once again. Number one, renegotiation or completion of the renegotiation of the 2009 agreement. Mark my word, the renegotiation. Completing the renegotiation of the 2009 agreement. Two, sustainable funding of public universities. 3, pay payment of withheld 3.5 months salary of our members. They have worked for this. It is a debt the federal government is owing. We demand that these 3.5 months salaries be released to our members. 4. Promotion arrears that have lasted since 2019. Let the promotion arrears of all the academic staff, the Asuu members, that their promotion arrears are being held, let their promotion arrears be released. 5. The 25%, 35% salary award, the arrears of 1 year that is not yet released should be released. 6. We are talking about the payment of the third-party deductions from the salaries of our members that are being held back by the federal government. So these are the few demands. It's not that that's all, but at least this will give us a clear idea of what we are talking about. When we're able to address these issues, I'm so sure and consistently address them, we will get to this point.
Okay, so where has the federal government come in all of this? What have they said to all your demands? Are they saying they're going to do 50% and Asuu is saying no, we want 100%? Or what is actually the situation? Because we've seen them come out to say, there is no need for this. We have listened to you guys. What is actually the situation?
No, the actual situation is that this committee set by the federal government, the 4th committee set by the federal government on the renegotiation, have had reports. The federal government should sign that report that was reached as a result of collective bargaining. It is not Asuu that fought that report on the committee. The committee, all the stakeholders were involved, and they arrived at that collective bargaining report. Let that report be signed and be implemented. Let our 3.5 months salaries be paid back.
The federal government has refused to sign. Is that what you're saying?
That is it. If they have signed, we won't be at this point. If they have cleared all these ones are eliminated, we won't be at this point.
On what point are they saying, Asuu, there is no need for strike? On what point actually? Or on what ground?
I wouldn't know because as far as we are concerned, none of these issues have been addressed. So saying there's no need, somebody begins to wonder what is really happening. Is it that somebody is not telling somebody the truth?
Okay, a little away from that, some experts have actually said that Nigeria needs to rethink the university model, that we cannot keep running universities with a 1970s structure in the 21st century. What are your thoughts?
You see, the government must not in any way jettison the welfare and well-being of its citizens. And education is one of the things any country that wants to move forward must take seriously. We can't jettison the development, the empowerment of our youths, our teeming youths. Nigeria is a country of the youths. So are you saying that the federal government can no longer fund the university system? Let me tell you, Priscilla, I can tell you that the federal government has what it takes to fund our university system, putting our priorities right. Putting our priorities right, we will fund our universities and they'll be among the best universities in the world. If we put our priorities right and tell ourselves what we want. Because it will be mere window dressing. We are talking of developing as a nation, self-sufficient, and we are not taking our educational system seriously, especially the university system.
Okay, let me ask this. What has universities done in order to employ up-to-date lecturers? Because a lot of university students actually complain of the fact that they do not receive an up-to-date education. So is it this? Let's move away from the strike. If Asuu does their part today, let us just assume that they do their part. What structures are put in place internally?
Hello?
Yes, I can hear you. Are you with me?
I don't understand what you mean. I'm with you.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Technologically wise, right? There are students that still complain to date that they do not have up-to-date lecturers when it comes to technology. It appears that some students are way ahead. That's the modern technology, the recent, the internet age that we are in. We do not have up-to-date lecturers. How true is that?
It still boils down to what we are talking. If we are talking of facilities, is it the...
No, we're not talking about facilities now. We're talking about the human resources.
Oh,
yes.
Fine. I am sure you know that all over the world, Nigerian graduates that go out there are making waves. From the medical school to all the other programs, our students excel when they go out there. If they didn't have good foundation here, they won't be excelling out there. The records are there. In fact, I think the lecturers in Nigeria should be given a pat on the back. With nothing, they are producing the caliber of medical doctors the world is looking for.
Well, medically we can agree, but technologically wise, I don't think I would agree, because it is more of theories. I know people that go through, university studying computer science, and they have to go and do a self-education.
So whose responsibility is it to provide the laptops? Is it the responsibility of the lecturers?
Well, we're not just talking about the laptops.
The federal government. No. If you're talking of, say, they don't have all the laptops, whose responsibility is it?
We're not even talking about the laptops. The approach, the educational approach, the learning, the syllables is more of theory. We don't really have so much practical.
Today is what the practical you are talking. Who provides the team for the practical?
Well, there are situations where students have.
Are you saying that the lecturers don't have the knowledge of the practicals?
Yeah, in some cases that is the case.
It's not. Do you understand? Anyhow, we are just running in a cycle. It is not the lecturers that will provide the facilities for the practicals. The laboratories that are not well equipped, is it the lecturer that will equip the laboratories?
So are we saying the lecturers may not have the up-to-date knowledge if they don't have the facilities?
They have. Nigerian lecturers, check them out anytime, anywhere. This group of lecturers produce the UTAS, the payment system on the platform. When the federal government challenges Nigerian lecturers in any area, say produce this for us. Let the federal government challenge the university lecturers when it comes to construction and engineering. It's actually painful that we are spending the huge resources we are spending our foreign exchange when we have the manpower here. If we are putting things in its right perspectives, some of the constructions going on even in the university ought to be handled by the lecturers, the universities. We have the manpower. Anybody can say anything, but what you cannot say is that Nigeria doesn't have the talents. We have the talents. The world even know. It is we that have not really utilized our talents, and that's why we say let's fund the universities very well, and these talents will speak all over the world.
Okay, so when we started the conversation, you made mention of the fact that Asuu makes sure that its members cover the syllables for the academic session. What are the steps that are put in place to ensure that? Because there are situations where students come back from strike and the next thing is, they are presented with examinations to write and all of that without covering the syllabus. So what are the measures that Asuu puts in place to ensure that students are not left behind academically?
Students graduate in any public university without passing all the prescribed courses.
Well, of course, that is sure.
Just listen.
Okay.
Just listen. No students in any Nigerian public university can have a degree from that university without passing all the prescribed courses. If that student did not pass any course, he cannot have a degree of that university. And he cannot pass any course if it's not taught.
How about situations where there's not enough time to teach? For example, there are students that would come back from this Asuu strike and will be presented with examination the next week, for the following week. It happens. I have witnessed it.
It's not realistic, my dear.
So what are the measures? Because I don't know how Asuu follows up with all universities to ensure that students cover the syllabus for the semester.
The university is run by university administration and the senate of the university. And I'm sure every senate of every university ensures what you are talking about. Except you don't have information.
Well, I do have information.
It is the responsibility of the senate of every university to ensure that these things are done. And they are doing it.
We need to come back to that conversation maybe some other time. But on the Asuu strike,
we get your information.
Yes, I really have different opinions on that very issue, and people have experiences, So when we need to get more logical, we need to come up with more facts, empirical facts, and all of that to prove all of that. But back to the conversation. What exactly would it take actually? Yes, you have mentioned if the federal government comes to this point now and say, okay, we're going to do 50%. While we think about the 50%, or do you just they come to terms of 50% deal with you? What do you think? Do you think Asuu would decide to reconsider, or are they sticking to 100 or nothing?
We can't give an answer to a preemptive. We can't give a preemptive answer until that is done. We will consider it at the next level.
Okay, so what message do you have for Nigerian students who are once again caught in the middle of all of this impasse? What message do you have for them?
The message is simple. It's quite unfortunate that the universities are shut down again. We are not unmindful of the pressure the Nigerian students are going through, just like the pressure that the lecturers also, who are parents and students, are also going through. But it's necessary we get these things right. It is necessary. It is actually for them. There's a man in my place, he said, all for you. All these things are for the upcoming generation. It is not just for us. We want them to understand. We understand we are going through pressure. The parents are going through pressure, which we also part of. But it is something we must do to keep afloat as a nation, as a university system. It's for us to understand and then urge the federal government, who I can tell you has what it takes to solve this problem. With a good political will, this problem can be solved in a very short time. If they are sensitive to the plight of Nigerian students, if they are sensitive to the plight of most Nigerian, the university teachers, if they are sensitive to what is happening in our educational system, I tell you, these issues can be resolved even in 24 hours.
Okay, let's just go for a quick break. When we return, I think we will begin to wrap up the conversation. Please stay with us.
Thank you very much.
Okay. All right, thank you very much for staying with us. We are still in the conversation. We're talking about the Asuu strike, the way forward, actually. And we're still joined by Professor Sylvanus Ugo. He is the Asuu chairman, University of Abuja. So I want to ask this question. What has the continuous strike culture, how has it affected us on the global mark, the global ranking in our university?
Actually, strike is an evil wind that does not do anybody any good, and actually should not be heard of. If we take all the necessary measures, or if we took the necessary measures, we wouldn't be where we are today. We have all the time, over 10 months, this matter would have been resolved. We wouldn't have gotten to this point if the people that are concerned were sensitive to these issues. We don't have gotten to this point. So there's no way we will not see it is not giving us a good image out there. Definitely, it's not giving us a good image and is avoidable. But unfortunately, it was not avoided.
Okay, so do you not think this demands that Asuu are making is much? And if you say no, why do you say it is not much?
It's not much. I don't know the generation you passed through, but I was privileged to go through a generation where I have an Indian, Ghanaian teachers in my secondary school who are international teachers. Also in the university, up to my master's level, I remember I still have an Indian lecturer. Now today, can you attract any lecturer from any African country to lecture in any Nigerian university? Of course, the answer is no. Before in this country, we attract foreign students. Today, can you attract any foreign student from outside Nigeria? The answer is no. And why wouldn't you get an international lecturer here outside this place? It's because of what we are paying. Even at the point, even what Asuu is asking for, we are not still sure you can attract people outside the shores of this nation. They'll say, let's start on something on the basis of improvement. So we can't talk of whatever they are asking being much. Check other African countries. I'm not talking of Europe and America. Just check other African countries and check how many in the African country that the salaries of lecturers of Nigeria is greater than. We're about the least.
Okay, what's your view?
I don't think
some students feel like in the spirit of the Asuu strike, Asuu should also consider, do I say campaigning or also clamoring for students, to also funding school fees and all of that to come to a reduction. There are students now. There is a student loan scheme. First of all, I want to even know what you think about the student loan scheme.
Well, Asuu made its position clear on the student loan scheme. It's very clear. I cannot pay you. You say you give me a loan and then you charge me with interest. I cannot pay. If we are, so mindful of these people, why wouldn't we give them grants? The federal government can do it. If we fund the universities properly, some of these issues will be taken care of. You ask yourself, even in the developed nations that have been doing this students' loan, you are aware some of them have come to waive it for their citizens. I think we can help our youth better by giving them grants and helping them in school than giving them loans. It means from the time you are graduating, you're already a debtor. And come to think about it, you are talking of a nation where some of these people we are talking will graduate. Those that are fortunate to get a job, you get a job, they pay him as low as 8,000 in 30 days. You expect this person to pay back the loan. I think some policies may be good, but we must consider the context. In Nigeria, is it really what the Nigerian youth needs now?
So what did Asuu actually, in this strike, has also included all of this to it, in its whole list to the government? Or is it just an Asuu? Are they just looking at themselves alone?
No, the stand of Asuu on that matter is low. Asuu have made their stand clear and known on that matter.
And then what other alternative is being given? Is Asuu profiling another solution, or is it just saying no? If it's saying no to this, what other ways, therefore, the Nigerian out there that cannot afford universities?
Can you imagine how fantastic it would be if we give these students who cannot afford it, if we give them grants?
Excellent. And I think it should be part of the conversation. It should be part of this list, the Asuus.
Be happier with their nation. Don't you think they'll be happier with the country?
Of course.
Don't you think they will want to be more productive?
Of course. That's it. It's still part of what I'm saying. As Asuu is, trying to present its own demands, it should also consider the students too. And that way, I think students would actually be happy to see that, at the end of the day.
You're not putting it in the right perspective. Let me say it here. The federal government of Nigeria has what it takes to handle these issues. It will put our priorities right. It is issue of putting our priorities. What do we want? What do we want to achieve? There must be a well thought out plan of what we want, where we want our university to be in the next 10 years. Where do we want our university to be in the next 20 years? You don't leave it to chance.
Okay, but you mentioned, you also, in your speaking, you also mentioned that students actually benefit from this. So I feel like students will be happy to see that their names actually mentioned in this request, or should I say the list that Asuu is presenting. Away from that, if Asuu is given proper funding, how can innovation and research from universities help drive economic, recovery of all of these funds? Are there measures, put in place for all of that?
No, if universities are funded properly, definitely they will attract research. They will attract grants for researches. And what develops a nation are products of research. Today, this country is a gifted country. We can farm all year round in this country. If we put the right research in place and everything in place, I tell you, this nation in a very short while will be among the first few countries to reckon with in the world.
I feel like there are other structures that schools can put in place in order to generate revenue.
When the schools, okay, let me answer you on that. Now, you see, you don't just start a university and say, okay, go out there and generate funds. You must have properly funded the university to stand on its legs.
Absolutely, and that's what I'm saying. If this is granted, if Asuu is granted its request, are there any measures put in place to generate revenue in universities?
I'm sure you mustn't forget that Asuu is not university administration.
But they oversee universities to an extent. Is that not so?
Asuu as a body does not oversee university.
So there is no... Okay.
Listen now.
Okay,
if these funds are made available, Asuu will ensure in a pressure group that universities make proper use of the grants or the resources being allocated to them. But day-to-day running of the university is not Asuu that does that.
Asuu members are members of universities. We have...
Yeah, they are members,
yes.
Not Asuu as a body.
They are members. The union members are members of universities. I don't know if you have VCs as part of Asuu members.
No, they are members of the university community. But Asuu as a body does not run the university.
I totally get that. I am just saying that if we have members of universities, deliberate, who are part of Asuu, the union, go back with positive say mindset to also take back the idea of generating revenue from their universities with all of this. I think it would be a good step in the right direction. But then
I agree with you. That's even what has sustained the university the level we are having it now. It's because these things are being done that you are having it the level you are having it right now. It's because we are getting to the point where it is becoming difficult to manage that the union is shouting out.
Okay, I totally get you. We are hopeful. We are very hopeful that the industrial action will indeed yield tangible results for both Asuu and also our students. The universities, of course, would benefit from all of this. Like I said, we're hopeful. Thank you so much, sir, for being on the show with us today. I believe you've been able to give us proper insights. Nigerians out there are informed of the actual situation going on between Asuu and the federal government. And I believe that one way or the other, we would also, in our little way, continue to lend our voice until we see the change that we want to see in our education sector. It's been a wonderful time with you, and I really appreciate you for coming on the show today. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. My pleasure.
All right, so have yourself a fruitful day. All right, our viewers, this is how far we can take it with Professor Sylvanus Ugo on that. The action is still on, the strike is still on. We're hopeful, like I said, that all of this will come to an end. Beyond the immediate impact, how do repeated strikes actually affect the morals of lecturers? We really hope that, it doesn't bring them down in any way, right? At the end of the day, they get exactly what they want. And ultimately, our universities function as it should. This is how far we can go on the conversation today. Until we come your way again, of course, my co-host is going to be here tomorrow to bring us the conversation. My name is Priscilla Obasi, and this is me saying bye for now.